Elite Assembly. Step up and see flash, it's the ToyLeet crew. We're the kings of the game, yeah, the chosen few. From the shadows we rise with the rarest finds. Collect them, respect them, we're one of a kind. ToyLeet, reign the streets. Elite with defeats in this collectible feast. ToyLeet, never the street. When the heart of the beat, we're all playmates me. Check our stacks, our collection supreme. Limited editions, every collector's dream. We're the myths, we're the legends, with every drop. Taking over the block, we never stop. In the alleys where the echoes play. ToyLeet's the name, hear what we say. Rising, thriving, always thriving. In our realm, we're always dropping. ToyLeet, bring the street, the lift ToyLeet, setting the pace. With a snap on the case and a click of the lock, ToyLeet's on top and we're ready to rock. Collecting more than just toys, we're up. We're up. We're up.
What's up, dude? How's it going?
Hey. What's happening?
Same shit, different day, I think is
lots of shit, man. Lots of shit.
Yeah. I just
realized crazy ass last couple weeks.
I just realized I had my our video like up here, so I've been looking at the camera up here the whole time. So I just wanted to adjust that. Sorry. Things are good, man. Things are good. Yeah, it's been crazy couple weeks. I feel like we haven't been on here in a while. Like, who are you, by the way?
Right.
You're and I got it messed up, right? You're Ed Akxion Figs.
I think that you're some guy named the Mr. Wonderful. The Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's you. Me. Travis. Yeah, that's your name. That's
Absolutely,
right.
Bro.
I haven't seen your smiling face in a while, man.
It's been a minute, hasn't it? It's definitely been a few minutes. Yeah, man, life is good. Crazy. Had a little vacation, feet in the sand.
Yeah.
You know,
gotta get away, man.
Yeah. So obviously we took a break last week. You know, with me traveling and stuff, and this week we're on a different day, special Wednesday night session. Next week I got some stuff going on Tuesday night, but I think we can pull it off. So we should be good. Otherwise we may push to Wednesday again if that works for you, Ed. We'll talk about that though.
Tuesday, Wednesday, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean we're taking over.
This is the best show on the internet, dude. There's no drama. There's no, no rising blood pressure.
Tonight there might be some drama.
Oh no, you're bringing the drama, dude.
I might actually shit all over something pretty hard.
Well, drama sells, dude, so it's okay. I'm good.
Okay, cool. Maybe. Hey, dude, I just saw like 3 more people started tuning in. So that must be tuning up the algorithm.
Let's bitch about things that people bitch about on the internet, like like I can't get a fucking once a man Cobra Commander.
Let's talk once a man. Let's talk politics. Let's talk. No, I'm just kidding. That's not what we're here for, folks. If this is your first time tuning in, we said who we are. We got Ed Akxion Figs. We have me, Mr. Wonderful, Travis. But we are combined. We are the ToyLeet, right? So what we like to do is we like to get together every week. Sometimes we take a week off, but we try to be consistent. The idea here is that we talk about our passion. It's plastic toys. We love to, hang out and talk about the greatest, newest, coolest things. When I came into the game, I only collected those guys above my head there on the shelf. Big wrestling figure fan. But, I really dived in heavy into a lot of other things. One of the things in which we'll
talk a little bit. You only dived in a little bit. Just tip your toe in there.
Yep. And we'll talk about that a little bit tonight in the main topic, which is key, right? We always come to the show with a main topic. We bury it way at the back end of the show, probably 3, 4. No, it doesn't go that long. We're not the Monday night guys. We do this, we get to it probably in about 30-40 minutes. But what we also bring is we love to give a shout out to somebody in the community, in the squad that's doing good things for everyone and trying to support the community. Additionally, what we like to do is we like to give news on independent toy lines. We focus on the independent toys because that's what we collect. Don't get me wrong. I got some Mattel stuff. I got some Hasbro stuff. I enjoy that. Not crapping on that stuff. I will crap on one major player today, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. That said, there's other guys that are doing the news on that stuff. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about guys like Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, like local, like in the community, guys that are on our shows, Brutal Realms, Savage Crucible. So we'll talk about the news and the happenings between those guys. And we'll bring you up to speed on what we know is going on. We ask you to bring that to the news here too. Share with us stuff. There's something cool that's not made by, one of the big guys and you want us to talk about it, bring it to our attention, and we'll absolutely talk about it. That said, Ed, what's up, dude?
Dude, I just been busy, man. Been working. Feels good to be working, working and playing and taking care of business and helping the boys over at Hella Dope to get their shit together. And
man, they got to work on that, getting their shit.
I know.
I'm just kidding. They've been figuring things
out.
Out.
If they fucking stop acting like a married couple and start being happy together, they might get farther along. But all it is constant bickering with those two. It's like, where's my socks? Where's my socks, Ted?
Where'd you put my phone? Where'd you put this?
Right. Where's the keys, Ted? How come there's no milk in the fridge? Did you look behind something? It's that same old stuff every day.
But is it really the milk? Isn't it more like, where's the bubble wrap, Ted?
Right.
Where's the boxes, Ted?
Yeah.
Aaron,
where's the beer, Ted?
Where's Travis's order, Aaron? Why isn't Travis getting his wrestling figures yet? Hey, I'm just kidding. These guys are awesome.
And then they go to a toy show on Sunday and think that's an excuse. Like, well, we might not be making it shipping out on Monday because, we got to put all the stuff back on the shelves, right? It's like, come on.
They say maybe they're not shipping something out.
Yeah. Come on. What excuse is that? No, we love those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are boys, right? So they're official members of the ToyLeet, right?
That's right.
So absolutely. Okay, cool. And we got a couple other things, right? Shout out from the Crick. I think I mentioned that. And we always have our ToyLeet or Toilet segment. Did we pick it up and did we dump it down the toilet, or did we decide to keep it and put it in its spot up on the shelf there, and put it on a Hexa stack stand? We'll talk about that another time, but they're coming. I keep saying that. I'm a broken record, but there's some really cool things coming right now. Legal things. So it's cool. Toxicity, guys. It'll be fun.
Drama and toxicity. That's what this show's all about.
I'll be able to talk more about things really soon, guys. It's going to be good. That said, Ed, what'd you do last 2 weeks, man?
Been working a lot. I started building that diorama, which I showed you a couple pictures of.
Ooh.
Haven't got that quite finished where I want it to be yet, but every time I start playing around with it, I'm like, I got to make it bigger. So that's what we're doing this week, is making it bigger. So
good. Should always be bigger. They love it when it's bigger.
I got like an 8-foot table that's empty right. Well, it's 6-foot table that's empty right now, so it's going to be that big. I'm purposely taking a little extra time with this one though, because I'm trying to make it actually modular so it can break down.
Ooh. Why would you make it modular, Ed? We'll talk about that another time.
I don't know why.
I think it's really cool.
But you know what? I've never done it before. So it's like, hey.
That's what I like to hear, dude. That's what I like to hear. Awesome.
So you went to IshCon, or what show did you go to?
Well, before we go into what I did and what I want to talk about, can we just hit up the chat? Because there's a whole bunch of people just kind of popping in. Let's make sure we give those guys.
I thought we were ignoring them tonight.
We don't ignore the chat.
We want some real drama and toxicity going. Those fuckers never acknowledge us. And, of course, the first one in is Nolan, which makes us official from the start. What's up, Nolan? And we got the Thanos copter in here. What's up, Thanos? And Thanos says, I have that issue. Just added a 5th monitor to my setup. Woo! And then there's this guy.
And I have to point out, I will send you a picture of it later, Ed. But I am officially up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 monitors. I have a command center here.
You were already in a spaceship, dude. What the hell are you doing?
Oh, it's awesome, dude. Like, it's booming and banging. And actually, there's probably so many monitors right now. If I actually turn this other system on, like it'll light up this whole area here if I do it right. And it'll probably, put some glare on me or something. But yeah, no, I love that, Thanos. I'm all about the extra monitors, dude.
Well, we got Mr. 5K in the house as well.
Ooh, did you say
this guy?
Where is it? There it is.
Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Must not have been paying those bills with all that money he's made.
Yeah. Power's out.
Yeah.
Dude, just ask Instagram and YouTube to kick over a check. I'm sure they'll take care of you.
And we got Roll Keeper in here. Sorry, there's another show going on, but I'm here. Yep. We know there's lots of shows going on tonight. Appreciate you stopping in, Roll Keeper, always. And let's see. We got somewhere in here. Figuratively Speaking is here. Thanks for stopping in, John. And I believe, we got another guy here. Mr. Joe G, who is a big Mythic Legions fan, so he'll fit right in with tonight's topic. And that is it for the chat right now, brother.
Good deal. Just checking something real quick. Make sure I got all my ducks in a row. So I think we're good there. Okay, good. Cool. So I didn't go to IshCon, but I did go on vacation. And that was pretty close to IshCon. No, I kid. So I went down to Ocean City, Maryland, spent a few days down there. We had an appointment in Philadelphia at the end of the week for my daughter. I'm happy to say everything was good.
Good.
With some follow-ups and stuff, but as far as her health, no major concerns after going to the children's hospitals there. So that was huge. She's going to get right back to her cheer. She just started cheer this week for us. Made varsity today, so she's really happy about that.
Awesome.
She's rocking it, so she's getting back into her prime.
Congratulations to her.
I keep telling her, prove to them and become undeniable. Prove to them what you are and earn every moment of it. So that goes out to anyone. If somebody says it and tries to hold something against you, you don't feel like you're getting where you need to, don't be denied. Be undeniable for what you want. It's something Cody Rhodes has been talking about, and I'm a huge mark of his, so I've been pushing it on my daughter. So, a great week. But before we went to Ocean City, I told my wife and daughter, I said, look, I know you don't care about my, and I'll use the term they use, men in tighty whities, little men in tighty whities is what she calls it. Because I used to collect all just wrestlers, and they're all in wrestling tights and such. So, I said, look, I know you guys don't care for that stuff, but there's this really cool convention right on the way down to Ocean City. If we just detour about 20 minutes, we can grab a hotel on Saturday night beforehand, and then we can hit up what's it called, ZoloCon. That was just outside of Philadelphia, about like 30-40 minutes. And really what it did is it presented me the opportunity to say, hey, if you guys got something better that you want to do, go for it. But my opinion was that of, you know what? If you can come up with something better to do, we can do that on the way down. Well, guess what? They didn't figure out anything better to do, so we landed in ZoloCon, which for folks that aren't aware, it's a convention and a really cool factory type thing, like space station thing that used to be there. I don't know exactly what it was and the history behind it. There's all sorts of cool things. What was even cooler is that weekend they were filled up with people like Savage Crucible, Animal Warriors of the Kingdoms, one of the guys in the community, D. Blake Makes, one of the guys that makes some shelves. I actually stopped by his booth, and he was right next to the AWOC guys, and I snagged a few things. So I'm going to show you a little bit about what I got.
So real quick, you had Son of Wonder with you? Or did the whole family go to the ZoloCon?
I did. No, the whole family actually came in. We paid for the whole family to get in. So my wife came. She actually snapped some pictures. My daughter saw some kids, some ladies, and people selling like these little Lego people, and they were selling bracelets. Well, my daughter makes all sorts of bracelets. So she's like, Dad, could I set up a booth at like table with your booth next time? And I'm like, why not? I don't care. You can sit down at the end there and sell your own stuff. I'm not worried. But yeah, so the whole family was there. Son of Wonder.
That's awesome.
It was a blast. He had a great time. We got pictures with all the guys that, we're familiar with. I snagged a few things for my shelf. These are some cool displays to, improve your shelf. Again, go over to D. Blake Makes over on Instagram. If I put this close enough, maybe you guys can even scan the QR code on this business card.
It's a little blurry, but yep.
Maybe go check him out. He's got some really cool stuff, but I got this one for my wrestling shelf. I got this one for Savage Crucible. One of my favorite ones. Got an Animal Warriors the Kingdom one.
Nice. That's
What's
good
really
news.
cool about these is I mean, he makes them. I'm pretty sure he does some 3D printing with it, and then he shows you on some videos how he like does stuff. It's really cool. He does a fabulous job, like, you know, putting the logos that these vendors produce. He's actually expanded in some other things, which is really cool. One of the things I'm going to do is, you know, speaking of Hexastack, as I mentioned to earlier, you know, there's some features that Hexastack offers with magnets, right? You know, connecting things and whatnot. One of the things I'm doing with these is I'm actually creating a connector that can be glued to the back with just simple plastic glue. And that way I can connect it, and the magnet will then attach to my Hexastack stands, and then be configurable and modular, just like the rest of the stuff with Hexastack. So I'll take.
I got to bring this comment up for you real quick, brother.
Yes, sir.
Only Mr. 5K would say something like that. You know that.
And as any other father would say, and Punk would say the same thing, a father is the only person that's going to ask for their son or daughter to do better than they did. So I'm okay with that. If she sells more than me, I won't lie. It might hurt my feelings a little bit, but the fact that I'll be taking commission off any sales she makes, that's what there's that. But real quick, I want to show another thing that I got here real quick. From D Blake makes. He makes these cool items here, which I'm just opening for the first time here, but he had some on display at the convention, and you know, he wanted my son to check him out and stuff because he knew my son plays with his toys. You know, he doesn't just display them, but even if you wanted to display them, he created these cool little like web type things.
Web effects.
But what's really cool is it's going to be bendable for like ever. And like you can position it any way you want. And then, you know, the way it's set up is you could just wrap this around a character's hand. Yeah. And, you know, for instance, you know, I have this pickup that I've got, which is another Savage Crucible, you know, Lemurian slate figure here. But like basically I just wrap that into his hand or put it around his thumb or whatever. And, you know, he's got a bunch of different styles of these. And they're not expensive. And what he did was really nifty and created this, you know, especially if you're putting things on a shelf, you got Spider-Man, you want him to shoot webs or something, but he's got a bunch of different ones. The ones that I have in front of me right now are the web slinger one there for like Spider-Man. And then I also, as you can see here, have one for Carnage, which is
nice.
Really freaking cool. He did like, I compared it to, because he had a Carnage figure and like he had it right there. So like I compared the coloring to it. It's like spot on. So like for the Marvel Legend one that he had on site, like the coloring that they used for this is perfect. So really, really cool concept and idea. Show D Blake some love, and you know, check his stuff out if you're looking for a way to spice up your shelf. You know, from either, you know, display stands like this, display, you know, I don't even know what you call it, right? Display signage.
Yeah.
For your figures.
Really, like I saw he got a couple to Robo a year ago, or I think maybe not that long, but it's you know, about a year ago roughly. And you know, Robo's got his collection set up like X-Men 97, X-Men whatever, right? On different like Star Wars, you know, Empire Strikes Back shelf and Return of the Jedi shelf, right? Yep. So for Robo, that's a perfect kind of thing, right? If it's just, you know, for organizing yourself and having a little, you know, like thing that calls it out, that's that shelf.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you know, he's got a ton of different ones, and he's going to be at some convention, I think, in the next couple weeks or whatever, that's coming up. I know he'll be at, I think he said he'll have a booth at Legion's Con, and I know he's going to be at Zolo Con also, because Zolo Con, I think it runs like 3 events a year. They do like, what they call as a winter one, which is typically February, March. Next year, it's going to be in early March. And then they have one that they do in the summer, which from what I've been told is like one of their smaller conventions. It's actually like the least attended out of all the ones they do. And then they do one that's not as like targeted towards what I would typically go to. It's more around the holiday and Halloween and horror stuff in like the fall. But they are moving to a new location. It's actually at a casino, I believe. So a much bigger venue. So they have a lot more space for it. I'm kind of bummed out because the place I checked out this past a week and a half ago was a really cool, it was like this big circle room with like, it was really just a cool place to go and check out. Definitely has some history behind it. But the new place is supposed to be much larger, and I know Valaverse has been there. I think they're planning to be back there in the winter one again next year. I don't know if it's formally been announced, but I would assume based on the folks that were there this year and the fact that they went last year, they'll likely be there. So a ton of cool vendors and stuff, a lot of toys and comics. I think they even have tattoo stuff there at times, different things. So I'm definitely looking at getting a booth for the March event. So that I'm excited
Awesome.
about. Yeah. But yeah.
Real quick, Mr. Cobb Webbs showed up. The beautiful Cobb.
Oh, what's up, brother? Is it his birthday today or was that yesterday?
I think it's today, and it
Okay.
must be because I think Lawrence just said happy birthday to him.
Happy birthday, Cobb.
Happy birthday, Cobb.
Yes.
Happy
Awesome.
birthday, Cobb.
That said, I did pick up something, and I
didn't pick up anything this week.
Right. Oh yeah,
Nope, I didn't
knew
pick up
that.
anything.
They didn't know that.
I
knew
did.
that.
I did buy a new phone this week.
Was it an iPhone?
No, I don't fucking do iPhone.
So as we're going through the show tonight, what's up, dude? What's up? I'm just busting on you. Before we go much further, I think it's time to check out one
God,
thing.
if you have a weak stomach, you may stop right here. Anybody hungry?
So the ToyLeet or toilet segment this week is going to be this figure. Other people have had this figure for a little bit. Hell, I've had this figure for a while. I have, I think, 4 or 5 of them in my basement. I haven't opened them. I still haven't opened them. I actually just opened this one today alongside its original, which is the Savage Crucible Lemurian Slate figure, which I'm not doing that on that's not part of the ToyLeet segment today, but I opened up its brother here, which is the Shadow Slate for the first time. And I am really happy with it, as I have been all of my Savage Crucible figures. Will point out that it still has, even though this was like a later release, it still has the foot articulation joint issue that folks were concerned about. Our buddies over there, Punk, crapped all over it, I'm pretty sure. But one of the things that Rob said and has confirmed is that sometime in October they're expecting to have out, the additional updated feet articulation, ankle joints, or whatever it is, to solve for that balancing issue that folks are having.
Except for Punk. Punk's not allowed to get him because he threw the figure.
Yeah, no. He doesn't get to have them at all. That's for sure. I completely agree with that, and I don't think we should let him do anything else. He's not allowed to benefit from our wonderful, Savage Crucible figures. He is an awesome figure. I am happy with him. What I love is that, they stay true to their word that you would not get the same figure released again. This was a little surprise for everybody.
I'm just going to ask that. Did they name him something a little bit different just so they wouldn't duplicate the slate?
Yeah. They did it in a different color.
Yep.
And then what they did, which was really cool, is so the one here on my left hand is the slate from the original Kickstarter, and then this one is the Shadow Slate, which is a different color, and it actually works and aligns with the accessories and such that they sold on their My Action Figure Custom release. Nice. They did a bunch of stuff, and I got a bunch of that stuff already. But the figure's awesome. I really enjoy it. I like it. Articulation's solid. You don't even have to put anything on these guys to make them cool.
Yeah.
But there is so much armor and stuff that you can leverage. So this one, just like the rest of my Savages, will continue to go on my shelf.
Up on the shelf.
So, is there anything in the chat we need to cover before I go?
Machine Man stopped by right when you were flushing the toilet. So,
good deal.
Diver. What's up, Machine Man?
Awesome. Okay, sorry. Here we go. Okay,
yeah, Matthew Matson just pops in.
Sweet. Hey, Matthew.
Your regular slate looks painted. It's way darker than mine.
I think that's the regular one. This one? I mean, I could mix up the boxes. I don't even know. I thought this is the Shadow.
It might just be your light.
Yeah, it could be because I have like the desk lighting and stuff over here. So, there's that one.
It looks a little grayer now that you moved it closer for sure.
Okay. Yeah. It's got like a greenish tint to it to me. It's like everything I've had on those is like that. I did open up all of my regular slates. I opened up the complete list. I will also show that I did get, which I've got a lot of Savage Crucible figures. I do have some that aren't open, so I may have more of these. But I did get this, which is like one of the holographic cards.
Yeah, the cards, yeah.
So I did get this one, which I had not received any of these. In all of the packages I got, I didn't get any of these.
Really?
So this was like the first one I got, which I was really happy with. I might have one other one, but I seem to have gotten a lot of duplicates and stuff. So, but
Awesome.
that said, let's go over here and talk about the main topic, right? Just give everybody an insight into it. So tonight we're going to be focusing on spending a little bit of time talking about fantasy figures, the epic rise of legendary toy lines. I already talked about that. I'm wearing my shirt for some fantasy lines. You guys know I love my wrestling, but these fantasy lines, they got me hooked. Like to the point where I'm not even like, I'm still getting them, but I'm like not even pot committed on my Joes and my Valaverse anymore. Not because those aren't awesome figures, but just because these fantasy figures, they're freaking so cool. Yeah. So with that said, let's go ahead and let's check out the preview.
Yeah.
Beyond the gates of brutal realms, where beasts and warriors take the helm, we ride at dawn with armor on to seek the throne where legends dwell. In kingdoms wild where warriors files stand tall with might in battles riled, we'll claim the blade in mythic shade and forge our fate with courage styled. In kingdoms wild where warriors file stand tall with might in battles rout, we'll claim the blade in mythic shade and forge our fate with courage styled. The animal warriors of the kingdom roar, savage heroes evermore. In jungles deep where shadows creep, they fight for honor and explore. In dragon kingdoms fire reigns, where prestigious girls break their chains. With Corin's wrath, they blaze a path through savage crucibles domains. In dragon kingdoms fire reigns, where prestigious girls break their chains. With Corin's wrath, they blaze a path through savage crucibles domains. In kingdoms wild where warriors fight, stand tall with might in battles loud, we'll claim the blade in mythic shade and forge our fate with courage styled. The mythic legions rise in force, their tales of valor run their course. In every realm where chaos swells, their battles echo with no remorse. In kingdoms wild where warriors fall, stand tall with might in battles proud, we'll claim the blade in mythic shade and forge our fate with courage styled. The mythic legions rise in force, the tales of valor run their course. In every realm where chaos swells, the battles echo with no remorse.
So that's a little preview of the topic we'll be talking about. You saw a lot of things: Savage, Brutal Realms, AWOC, Four Horsemen, Mythic Legions, a couple other ones we're going to talk about tonight too. So
Frazetta Girls.
I mean, there's just so much out there, and then you got all of the overseas stuff that's coming.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
really
Memory
cool
Toys stuff. And all those guys are just killing it, man.
Yep,
just
absolutely. So before we go there, it's that time.
Down by the creek where the water flows, we're shouting out to those who know. Spreading joy, sharing love, ToyLeet fam, you rise above. Shout out from the creek, you're the best. Hype up the heroes who've passed the test. Community stars shining bright, lifting each other, it feels so right.
So
This week's shout out from the crick goes to Down South 77 or 3-star draw, depending on which name you call him by. But on his 3-star draw YouTube channel, he does some great videos, some live broadcasts and stuff like that, podcasts and all that. But been doing some really fun stuff too. Been going out to where he has a little land down by a creek and floated a G.I. Joe whale down it many times through the rapids and stuff. And Mr. McFloaty Bodie, Floaty McBodie, I guess that was the name of his boat. But yeah, just a cool guy, fun to watch, does some good stuff. I believe he is streaming currently with Aaron the Toy Enhancer and Crusty Old Crow right now, actually. Maybe it's over by now, but he was streaming with them earlier, I believe. So yeah, go give Down South 77, 3-star draw, whatever one you go to. Give him a follow, give him a sub. Same names on Instagram, but yeah, he's a cool guy. So does a lot of cool G.I. Joe stuff and started getting into some of the Mythic Legions just recently. So yeah.
Sorry, I got a Son of Wonder running around. So he's asking questions, knocking on doors. I apologize. It's just he and I at home tonight. So ladies out getting some hair did and stuff. So yeah, no, down south.
He doesn't run around in his boxers like your oldest son does he?
Right? No, not him. Not him. The thing I worry about him is he walks around with these headphones on because he's playing his freaking games all the time and whatnot. But yeah, 3-star. He's awesome, dude. On Instagram, you can find him on the Down South 777 on the top there, and then the YouTube is the Down South 77. But he uses the 3-star draw icon. So.
Yeah.
You have not paid us yet. Everybody else has paid us, Punk. You just keep coming up short. Wait,
that's right.
Short? Punk? Short?
Oh, what do you mean this channel never gets shouted out? We call him out every time we're on the show talking about the Monday night guy. Exactly. And as far as I know, from what he says every Monday night, he's the only show worth watching on Monday night. So we shouldn't have to specify who the Monday night guy is, right?
I watch him more than I do Monday Night Raw most weeks. That's so right. There's that. And he's the only one that's got like a song on our show.
That's
that,
right.
Like gets played every time he gets to the chat. So yes.
Maybe you should play it one more time just to make him feel better. I'll bring up.
You know what? You're right. You're right.
Comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money.
There you go, Punk. All love, brother. All love.
All for you, brother. We love you. Now, Punk acts like, he's this tough guy. He's got that, rough exterior and all this right now. He put a video out on his YouTube channel the other day talking to the deer that are out in his backyard area, right? And the deer come right up to him. Now, everybody knows me knows that I'm very in tune with nature and go out to the woods all the time. And animals don't approach you if you're not a good human being. So, Punk, your cover is blown. You're not the hard-ass asshole you like to pretend you are.
Are you sure they didn't think he was a lawn gnome?
Good point. I didn't even think of that.
I'm just putting it out there.
I mean, maybe he had a red hat on and it was totally confusing for them. It might have been.
Very well could have been. He could have standing there with it. I mean, I could picture Punk, right? He's throwing up the middle finger and he's holding on his skateboard. It might just look like a lawn gnome, and the deer is just like, I got to find a place to piss.
That's right. That's true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Or else he bribed him, right? Throwing out some
It's possible.
Brand new, like really fresh Macintosh apples or something. The deer just were like, "Oh, I'll come over and see this guy."
Yeah, awesome. So, shout out from the crick. 3-star.
I do have a song on your channel. You're right.
He does.
That's right.
That takes us.
What's up, brother? Glad to see you here, man.
That takes us into the weekly news here.
If I'm going to do this, I'll need my news team at my side.
Okay, so we're the weekly news, and the first thing is
Let's get brutal.
So we were going to try to have these guys on a couple weeks ago while the Kickstarter was still live. Unfortunately, timing has not worked out with vacations and with their massive media tour they've been doing. We just haven't had a chance to connect. I do want to reach out to them again this week or next week when things settle down as far as the Kickstarter goes. I do want to bring them on the show and discuss the Brutal Realm. I want to dig into the lore. I don't care about this product. Let's be honest. I want to know the story. I want to know about the toys more. I want to know the history of these characters.
Yeah, and we talked about it Saturday night in the clubhouse that it was very. I don't want to say like they kept it hidden, but it wasn't really put out there in like, an announcement that there's that bad guy that they end up, unlocking the.
So it was out there, and that's what we'll go to, right? So going into the news, right? Like, so that was definitely it was out there, but it was nested, right? Their main focus on the stuff was on the.
That's a good way to right. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, so the focus was on the originally released and opened right off the start, but you had to dig down into it, and all of their promotional stuff right off the get-go is really focused on those barbarian blanks, basically, right? Like the slates, essentially, the equivalent of the slates for Savage, with their massive bodies and stuff. But there wasn't a lot of attention being paid to the deeper nested stretch goals. I imagine that's partially because a week ago, I didn't think we was going to see this product come to fruition this way.
I know.
I don't
the
think
last show we had 2
weeks.
2 weeks ago when we were talking, we were like, it was at like 43,000 or something like that.
Yeah, it was like somewhere under 50, and it was like, I don't think it's going to happen, and I was bummed out because I was like, I really want to see it succeed. And then last week, weekendish, I don't remember the exact day, they were like, oh, by the way, Big Ben's been pre-ordering for us, and here's the number, and it jumped to 120. Or some, it was like
it was like 10,000 below where it needed to be.
Exactly. So it was like, oh, we're gonna see the base. We're gonna see the base product. So that got all of the FOMO going, and everybody's like, let's do this. And we're sitting here today, as of like about an hour and a half ago. I wanted to make sure I got an updated screenshot. We're at 336, almost 337,000. When I did take the screenshot, it changed, so I took another screenshot. So I'm sure if I looked at this now, my guess is probably closer to 340.
And it ends tonight at midnight or tomorrow sometime.
It's got 20 here. Let me get it open live on my side over on my other screen.
I know it was really close to the end. So
it was 27 hours when I took this picture about an hour and a half ago.
I remember when I thought about it when I looked at it earlier today that before I go to bed tonight, I got to put my order in for at least one figure so I can at least get into the backer kit.
Yeah. So there's 26 hours to go. They're at an hour ago when I took the screenshot. So 26 hours to go, 934 backers now. So 10 more backers jumped on, and it's up to $338,816. And there's people as things have gotten unlocked, they haven't had a chance to go in and add more, and because that's the at this point when I saw almost funding, I was like, oh, this thing's gonna fund by the time I got vacation. So when it did, I was like, well, I'm not gonna bother booking now because I'm going to need to get all my other add-ons in and stuff. So now I'm sitting here looking at this going, what am I going to buy now? So
that's why I'm trying to figure out which one I'm going to put in. I'm just going to buy one figure and then the armor packer, the one that comes with like the little gear pack is like $5, right? At least that way I can get into the backer kit, and then I can really decide which ones I'm really, really wanting to get, because I went through them about 100 times today at work on my phone, and I was just like, I can't make a fucking decision. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely, there's so much. I don't know all of the things that I want, to be 100% honest.
Yeah.
I'm likely going to pass on the barbarian. Well, here, you know what? Let's go to the next page. So you can see you've got some characters. I'm definitely getting all three of these guys. I'm not going to pretend I know all of their names. I know that this one is it's supposed to be like the He-Man-ish one, I believe.
Crowman, right?
I think that's is that Crowman or is this one Crowman?
That one's Crowman. Yep, that's
Crowman. This one's Crowman. So I know this
that guy's called the Barbarian King, and that's
this one's something the red, right?
Yeah, he's something the red. The other guy's Yurik, the Iron King or Iron God or something like that. So
and then. Thanos just said, pull this up real quick when you get a second, but Thanos just said that they have a surprise if they get to 400K. So that'll be interesting. Yeah. I'm curious as to what that
if everybody that's backed it already goes and backs just one more figure, bam, you're at 400K.
I mean, and here's the thing. I haven't even backed mine, and I've got, I know it's a 250, 300 order at least, because I want one of each of the barbarians. I want one of each
the blonde guy.
Oh, Cronin is the blonde one. Yep.
Barbarian King. Yeah, that's him.
And then we have Crowman. You've got the three generic bodies, which I love those three.
I do too.
That had been the only thing produced, I still would have been happy. Like they would. I'm good. But I will say, I love that we're gonna get this guy here. with the red and whatnot, and the armor and stuff. You've also got the Native American figure, which I'm pumped about that. I don't know that I'll use him with all of the headdress and armor that he comes with, because I don't know if that fits into what I want to do. But like, I love the extra face paint, war paint, all that stuff, So very excited for that. Then they also have, some other ones, which we haven't seen all of the 3D pieces.
Yeah.
But you've got like the Owl Man up the back, which they are releasing a package of owls. You can add on too.
The Owl Man is cool, but the Sumerian and then whatever the other guy's name is with the bow, those two guys those are the two. I'm going to order one of those to start with, and I don't know which one I'm getting yet. But
oh man, like I can tell you right now, I'm getting. Hold on, we can go back, right? So I'm getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I got 8 already. 9, 10, 11. If we go to the next page, you have Grayskull, which that is the character I actually may hold off on. I don't know that I want him. I don't know that I need that. I know it's like a throw to
it's kind of like Skeletor mixed with Darth Vader.
Yeah, I know it's kind of like a throw to that, and he looks cool. I just don't know that I would have him fit in my world, but maybe he does. I don't know. I normally don't want my bad guys to be as big as my good guys. Like, I always feel like the bad guys should be a smaller, slimmer, I guess maybe not always, but then he also has his army builders for his, his army of, people. So I'll definitely probably look at grabbing a couple of those. So like I'm up to like, what, I don't know, 11, who knows?
Yeah.
And then I also am definitely going to get at least one of him. Athena.
Dude, I love the way. I mean, I don't know they didn't show like the actual art for the monkey dude and the werewolf, but damn, those.
No, but they showed these 3 things here that you can see up in the background, where you have like the Black Panther, you have the Monkey King, and then you have the werewolf.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would go those routes. Like, I already have my monkeys for my AWOCs and whatnot.
But you don't have a monkey as big as this lion dude, man.
Yeah, I don't know that I need that. But Athena, I will probably get her. I don't think I'll do like the barbarian bucks that they're going to do, just the generic females and stuff. But I'll probably get at least one of these. So, I mean, it's a pretty big all-in almost for the most part. And, that should add some numbers to it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But that brings us up on Brutal. Again, I'm going to do my best to try to get them on. What's Thanos saying? What about?
Hold on a second. Let's just pop through the chat real quick before we go.
Is he giving me a hard time?
Let's have the 4-legged freeloader in the house to keep deer come close to me. Yeah, Roman. And Brutal went from worried about funding to unlocking everything like overnight. Absolutely.
Yep.
And then Thanos said, added on each of the ladies, and we'll probably get 3 of the blanks in the backer kit. Awesome. Wraith Mace, anyone going to Legion's Con in November? Granted, it's in Jersey. Yeah, I'm not going, but I know lots of people are. Like Joe G's going.
I might pop in. I might pop in on the Saturday.
Oz is trying to go.
At this point, right now, I do have a convention I'm doing on the Sunday that weekend. Experience Con out of Albany. I haven't seen a lot of activity on that. The toy store did close its physical location. That was the person that connected me with that group. I haven't seen a lot of movement, but they're supposed to have the Hardys and Lex Luger there. I'm hoping that all still comes to fruition, so I can have that booth in November. But I may pop in that Saturday. I did hear that they're nearing 100 or less weekend passes or something like that. So I think I'm going to have to grab that.
Go will make a good
hard time for not getting the ladies.
Yeah. Well, like that's why I'm just going to go in. Like, I can't make a decision right now, right? So I'm just going to get one guy and the barbarian kit, and that way when the backer kit comes out, I can just sit there and really, have time to figure out what the hell I'm going to order.
Yeah.
And then Action Joe Figs is in the house. What's up, Action Joe? Good to see you, brother. And Cobb's off to work, so have a good one, Cobb. Have a good night, brother. Stay safe. All right, that's it for the chat. So yeah, Brutal Realm is looking good, dude. I mean, I sat there, like I said, I looked at it 100 times today, and I can't figure out what the hell direction I want to go. But
I want to know the lore that connects them all. That's what I need to understand.
Yep. Especially like these animal dudes, right? Like this. I mean, now we know it's an homage to Lion-O from Thundercats, right?
Yeah.
And, like all these other animals' heads are going to go onto this body, basically, is what they said, right? But it's like, how does this all tie together? And
Right.
you know, you got a Sumerian, and you got kind of a an Oriental Asian looking dude, that one guy, and then you got the Indian, you know, and then you got, you know, you just got so many different
The owl.
ethnicities or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. It's just a lot of different things that they
Yeah.
have going on. So I'm
Yeah.
excited.
I'm excited too, man. I was like we said, we were so worried 2 weeks ago when we met. We're like, yeah, it's only 40,000, man. Hope it gets
sure.
funded. Hope it gets funded. And then all of a sudden, it was like,
Yep.
bam, hello.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
And
you
when
know,
is this
that-
supposed to be released? If it gets now that it's when it's
I haven't even followed when the distribution on
I
Wave
can't
1
remember.
would be. I haven't even followed that to know. So I'm not even gonna. If somebody in the chat knows when they're expecting it in, that'd be interesting. I'm curious. I mean, because you know, and this isn't to stress anybody out, but you know, we just heard what happened with Marauders, right? So you know, there's that Kickstarter just
Yeah,
decided
right.
it's going to refund everybody and such, right? So you know, or give store credit, and they're not delivering on the product they had done 3 years ago. So, but you know, we've seen a lot of successes like Savage, AWOC, Valiverse. So hopefully, you know, we continue to see the successes.
These
there.
guys have been. I mean, you and I have been following these guys since very, very beginning, right? When they launched,
before they even announced, before it was
right,
launched,
they were just doing like 3D prints of what they wanted to do, and
Yep.
I mean, I think they got a good solid plan. So I don't think you'll have any problem seeing this actually get get done and put out.
Yep, absolutely.
Plus, usually if something goes to BBTS will make sure it gets made.
Oh, excuse me, sorry. Yeah, no, absolutely. So we should be good. I'm looking forward to
Thanos says BBTS says June 2025, but that's probably roughly there. But you know, 6 months, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's a best.
It.
I feel like that's a best case scenario.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll definitely see.
And of course, money talks, though, right? They
Right.
get this 400,000, and they get more in the backer kit. I mean, it's a big chunk of change to go say, hey.
Oh,
And a lot of the bodies are used the same buck. They're just
they're all the same buck,
right.
for-
I mean, that's what
for
I'm saying,
guys,
right?
right?
Mostly all the same buck, different heads, different overlays and stuff, right? So
Yeah,
it's really going to come down to painting and putting them together.
absolutely.
All right.
Okay, cool.
Is
So the
next.
next thing we're going to talk about some Creative Beast Studio. They had posted some recent shots of the.
Man, this guy looks so good.
Oh, where is it? I thought I had my notes in here. Sorry. Yeah. So this is the. Where is it? What is this called? I can't remember the name. So it's a saber tooth basically, but it's,
We'll call it a saber tooth.
Some other name. I can't remember what it's called, but they're saying that it's still expected to be shipping on track for late October. And I just saw these recent screenshots and I wanted to post it. It won't come with that stand. That stand's related to something else they have, so it won't come with that. But again, you're going to get that kick-ass 112 saber tooth there, and it's going to be an awesome mount. So you 3D print some stuff, or maybe even cloth fabric, a saddle type thing. You could throw any one of those figures from the 112 lines on here. I'm picturing the Lemurians. I'm picturing, any one of the Frazetta girl figures. Number of
you wouldn't even really need much
horsemen.
to make a saddle. You take
No.
get a scrap piece of leather, throw it over top of it. I mean, for a medieval, fantasy type of saddle, I mean, you don't really need a saddle, right?
Absolutely.
Throw a rein around its head, you're good to go, man.
Yep, 100%. This is a cool figure. This is going to be awesome. I'm definitely got to get my order in. There's so much crap I got to order, and I don't.
Yeah, but now they're coming out with black, the standard tan color, and
there's one that kind of looks like it's like a tiger colored one.
Yeah, I like the black one. The black one is the one I'm going to be getting. But these are only like $60-some, right? So that's not even that bad.
No,
Not even
the
that
price
bad.
is bad. It's just with everything. It's just there's
Oh,
so
yeah.
much. There's just so much, and it all works with what I want. Yeah, exactly.
Some leather to fur, bam, done. Exactly, Thanos.
100%. The next
The articulation on this thing is also
ridiculous.
badass. Yeah.
This is a new icon here, Dragon Kingdoms. It's actually created by Go Native Toys. You can see in the left-hand picture on the screen here, the character that's is the beards of the Dragon Kingdoms action figures.
Yep.
So this is a new line, supposed to kickstart launch on the 30th of August. I'm interested to see the pricing and stuff on this.
Yeah.
It's an interesting line. It's definitely like the prototypes seem like they're 3D printed, but they have like a ton of detail for that small. I mean, these are only 2 3/4 inches
Yep.
tall to the top of the head of these guys. I don't know if these are going to be like the dwarf ones, and there's going to be others, but like
So Go Native Toys, their base figures that they make, right? They've been selling like a blank 3D printed 3 3/4 inch action figure for a long time. I won't say a long time, but a while, right? So I'm guessing that's the standard size of like the ones that are next to the blonde beard dude on the left hand side there. But at 2 3/4 inch tall, right? If they're not that much money, I'm all in for the beards, man. The dwarves are cool looking.
Yeah, no, they're definitely interesting figures for sure. Like without a shadow of a doubt, I'm definitely I'm interested. I'm going to be following one fairly close because I want to see what's coming from it.
Yeah.
So that these like I said, Kickstarter is going on August 30th. It'll be interesting. You'll see more from us as that progresses. Yeah, this is the beards figures there for sure. Next one is another new icon added to the slides here. Monsters. I'm not sure if people have seen these, but Shamumu and Sting Cobra action figures. These are a line that I just came across them. It was popping up in my Instagram feed, I think, and I started looking at it. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Not a ton of diversity in the line. It's really 2 or 3 characters, pretty much with a slightly different head sculpts. But interesting line that's working its way out there. So
they almost look kind of like the Street Sharks.
Yep.
Without the big, the big shark body. They, kind of more anthropomorphic, but they look
that's
fun.
What it made me think of. That's exactly what it made me think.
Bright colors, good line for maybe like Son of Wonder to get into.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be keeping my eye on it. And we'll keep you guys updated as this progresses. Not sure the complete details on it, other than that, they've been promoting it on Instagram, and they have a sign up to keep updated on the Kickstarter that's going to be coming. Yeah, you're correct, Thanos. That's what I've seen on these. Oh, we work with. Oh, I didn't realize there were 5.
Yeah. They do kind of look like the Origin style too. Yeah, I guess that's.
Yeah, that actually makes sense now. I can see that. Cool. The next is some updates from Ramen Toys. They've been updating a bunch of stuff, but the one that I wanted to talk about was this. They're vans. The bread box, I think they call them.
The bread car.
The bread car. Okay, so you got the white cargo van. The I'm picking up a kid and there's a problem there. Or whatever else you want to use it for. It seems like it's probably going to be Thanos is dude.
I keep telling people I'm going to spray paint loaded diaper on the side of it.
My son actually, I'm not gonna lie, me and my sons all love those books.
Oh yeah, me and Luke used to watch those all the time, dude. That's why as soon as I saw that white van, I was like, loaded diaper.
Oh yeah, I'm totally down for that. That's cool. But then the black one was really cool too. Like I totally see myself wanting one of those for Punisher character. And like there's a ton of stuff I can see.
My plan right now is to order the black one. That's the alpha version, which is going to be like the A-team type, right? And then a basic white one.
Is there anyone? Do we know if is Hella Dope going to be pre-order sales this one or no?
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
BBTS is, and they're probably going to get just the base black and base white version. They won't have the alpha version.
The what is it?
The alpha version, which is the A-team one that comes with all the add-ons for the black one with the roll guard, spoiler, and all that.
Man, I was hoping that they'd get it because I pre-ordered through them. I may end up having to go.
The only reason they haven't is because they have to get a international shipper that they have to actually hire and everything to get them over here.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which is why they didn't carry the ramen racer. That's the only reason why they didn't have the racer. So.
Okay. Did they carry anything from ramen?
They have what's his name right now? The Marshall up.
Okay. Yeah. I got the Marshall from them. So when that comes in, that's supposed to come in from them. Yeah. Okay.
But that can just be thrown into an international shipper, right? That's not a
Thanos. We'll talk offline, but yeah, dude, if you don't know what that means, look it up on the internet. It would totally work for a lot of the photos that you take with your figures. So the white van would work for a lot of those pictures that you have with your
free candy on the side
figures. That
I
know you lose subs and gain subs as fast with it.
I'm
Definitely,
definitely getting 2 of the Vans. I'm going to get a base white one and then the black alpha one. The alpha one should be like 120, and the other base black and white are going to be $99.95. So
Okay. Yeah, I know they're going to be doing pre-orders.
yeah,
Early
and
bird
he said
pre-orders
they
on
will
the
ship
31st.
early next year. So
First
that came
quarter
right
next
from Ace's
year.
mouth.
Yep. First shipping first quarter next year. I actually think he's on a live stream tonight talking with folks about this stuff. But he's going to have that first quarter 2025, and early pre-orders begin tomorrow. I'm sorry, not tomorrow. The 31st.
Yes.
So, wow, you lost 137 followers in the last 90 days. I know which picture it was too, Thanos. I know which picture it was, because there was one the other day I was like scrolling through. Luckily, I wasn't in the office. I was like, oh, move.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a NFS photo right there.
His Magneto and Professor X didn't help his numbers either. So.
Okay, I don't know that I saw that one. I probably did. The next news item is Savage Crucible. Their pre-orders for Wave 2, which is the human wave, which is your warrior and ball and chain and all of the other kick-ass human figures that they have.
And Jaeger, which is the guy that
Jaeger, Norse. What is it? I always forget the one that's got the devil horns and stuff. I can't think of the name. Norse horn or something like that. I'm probably saying it wrong. But yeah, they are now available for pre-order through your other retailers like Hello Dope Toys.
Hello Dope Toys, put them up today for pre-order.
If you missed out on, what's that?
I was saying go over to Hello Dope Toys and pre-order these. Use the PWT and save yourself 10%.
Yeah. If you haven't ordered these already, don't miss out. Get over there to Hello Dope Toys and order it for them, because I want them to start getting them in stock so I can continue to buy them from them after these Kickstarter waves clear, because there's surely going to be more. Awesome. With that said, I think we're going on to the main topic here. So
we're back to the main topic already. Wow.
Anything in the chat you need to throw up right now, or are we caught up?
No, I've been throwing it up. It's mostly been about the news, so I've been throwing it up as we talk. So
okay. So with that said, let's go into the preview here.
Beyond the gates of brutal realms, where beasts and warriors take the helm, we ride at dawn with armor on, to seek the throne where legends dwell. In kingdoms wild where warriors files stand tall with might in battles riled, we'll claim the blade in mythic shade and forge our fate with courage styled. In kingdoms wild where warriors file stand tall with might in battles rout, we'll claim the blade in mythic shade and forge our faith with courage styled. The animal warriors of the kingdom roar, savage heroes evermore. In jungles deep where shadows creep, they fight for honor and explore. In dragon kingdoms fire reigns, where prestigious girls break their chains. With Conan's wrath, they blaze a path through savage crucibles domains. In dragon kingdoms fire reigns, where prestigious girls break their chains. With Conan's wrath, they blaze a path through savage crucibles domains. In kingdoms wild where warriors fight, stand tall with might in battles loud, we'll claim the blade in mythic shade and forge our faith with courage styled. The mythic legions rise in force, their tales of valor run their course. In every realm where chaos swells, their battles echo with no remorse. In kingdoms wild where warriors fall, stand tall with might in battles rout, we'll claim the blade in mythic shade and forge our faith with courage styled. The mythic legions rise and fall, force. The tales of valor will never pause. In every realm where chaos dwells, the battles echo with no remorse.
So, the focus this week is on fantasy figures.
That's right.
You guys saw the video there. On the screen, you can see a number of photos from a number of toy lines. You got the Brutal Realms previews. You got some Savage Crucible. We've got the Four Horsemen, and then you can see some stuff that I did with one of the Masterverse figures and some AWOCs there. There's just so much out there, Ed. And this is just the 1/12 scale, right?
Yeah, right.
We showed that other stuff for earlier with the news for the 2.75.
Yep.
Like there's just so much.
I mean, we have to first say, you got to throw it out to the Four Horsemen with Mythic Legions, right? Because they really, they've been doing it for 10 years, and they really, started this whole ball rolling. Because for a long time, it was all superheroes and military, right? That's pretty much, or anime. That's what you got for action figures, And thanks to Mythic Legions, we wouldn't have what we have now if it wasn't for them.
100% agree. I mean, so many things spawned from it, right?
Yep.
Savage Crucible, a lot of those folks used to do like custom sculpts and stuff for, the customs and modifications. It's just, so much talent and such awesome, lines there. Brutal Realms, Masterverse. There's just so much to do, and it all works together.
I'd just like to point out that Joe G likes Mythic Legions. I mean, in case anybody didn't know, Joe G likes Mythic Legions. I mean,
he likes
I think he only has like 3 figures, but he likes them, so that's all that matters.
So like he likes Mythic Legions, like that we're confident on.
I think he likes them, right? Like I said, he's only got a handful of figures, so I mean, it is what it is. That guy, he's one of those guys. He's just fanboying.
Interesting. Okay. So
more like 300, I should say.
So like, when we talk about fantasy lines and kind of the growth, right? Like I think that's a big piece, right?
Yeah.
It's grown so much over the course. I mean, again, full transparency, folks know I'm a wrestling figure nerd. That's where it all started. Yep. My kids were into the Marvel Legends and Power Ranger Lightning, and I saw some Legends that I liked, like Winter Soldier, but that's a military and it's the character that I like. And then the Joes came out in the classified, so that was where I was playing. And then the Valaverse was my foray into independent toy lines, looking for supplemental characters for the Joes. And then the world of independent toy line, like, just did one of these creak, and like the door just opened.
Oh, floodgates open, dude.
It seems almost as if, like, with all considerations, like it literally, basically as I entered into the independent toy lines is like when AWOC had just finished up its Kickstarter, right? So I couldn't get in on the Kickstarter. It just wrapped up, and they had them on Big Bad for a bunch of pre-orders and stuff. I was like, I don't know. I was actually riding a train. I was like, these are really cool. I just started seeing the Savage Crucible folks start showing their stuff. Mythic Legions was already established. I grabbed some Mythic Legions because I was like, oh, these are cool. Some of the articulation left a little be desired for myself. I'm less into the customizing, more into the just wanting to have that articulation. Yeah. So for me, it left a little something. Then I saw the Savage stuff. I was like, oh, that's got the articulation I want. Still some customization, and whatnot. And then I just went all in on those AWOCs, and I'm like, Savage, it all worked. Started picking up clearance Masterverse figures, and just went head in. Luckily, Hella Dope got all those AWOCs in right off the rip before Big Bad did, and I was able to snag up a ton really early. And like now I'm like, over my head.
I mean, you throw it back to like, you had Masters of the Universe, right? And it stayed, in and out of the stores for quite a long time,
Yeah.
All of us grew up in the 70s and 80s. There was tons of, fantasy, Conan and Barbarians and stuff like that, right? And we all loved that shit. And then there was really a dry spell. Like I said, it was mostly superheroes. And even at the beginning of the independent stuff, right? It was like, a lot of people at the 1/12th, when 1/12th blew up outside of Marvel Legends, it was military. It was Valaverse and G.I. Joe, right? And now if you look, there's very little military stuff coming out other than those two. I mean, you got the Patriot Force, but there's not a lot of independent lines coming out that are like, let's go full military. Even the Fist and Monster Force
there's like
have
a sci-fi. There's a sci-fi military, and
right.
I lump them all in together. I do. I kind of they're all that 1/12, and they're all all going to work together.
Yeah,
but
I mean, like Monster Force, Patriot Force are both going to work great with Valiverse and GI Joe, right? But like, even though Patriot Force is total military, but like even Monster Force and the Fist have an element of fantasy to them, right? And that's kind of like just saying, hey, look at how popular Monster Force is, right? Everybody's like, give me Monster Force. And it's like, and a lot of it has to do with that fantasy nod to it, right? Because people are I think people are tired of just the same old, how many times can you have a guy in a green camouflage, right? It's like,
Yeah. I mean, I think part of those to me, I put those into the sci-fi military. Like, I don't put them into the fantasy military.
It's paramilitary,
It's there, but it's like military adjacent, with that sci-fi aspect to it. I don't look at it as so much fantasy, but I get what you're saying. And I think of like, you're right. The fantasy stuff's been in the stores for the most part since we were kids. I never heavily got into the He-Man, the Thundercats, things like that. I didn't. It just wasn't me. I was big into the wrestling and the X-Men and stuff and whatnot as a kid. So that's really where I fell. But like, this goes to the world building. It goes to the action figure photography. It goes to the storytelling. Like, playing with wrestling figures with my kids and stuff. It's always been telling that story, having fun in the moment with them, playing out some story in my mind that I would have loved to see happen on TV. Now it's playing with these characters and these people you don't know as much about. There is some lore, there's some fantasy, novels and stuff like that.
I think that's one of the biggest draws to that fantasy world, though, is that we all have these like little ideas in our head of like, from fantasy movies that we watched. And then there's a little bit of lore, like Mythic Legions gives you a little bit of lore, like, not without going into full detail. Savage has its, and AWOC has its storyline from their comic books and stuff. But it's still like, you grab a hold, you could take all these figures on the screen right now, which are from 5 different companies, right? And throw them all together and have your own story, and no one can tell you that it's wrong, right?
And they all work together.
Right,
and they all work together.
Yep.
Like they look proportional and correct, and they work. And that's just some of these core independent lines. Thanos mentioned the Mithril Studios and Memory doing the stuff in Fantasy Toys that you can get from 5K. Like, there's a ton of stuff there. And then that's just a handful of it. There's Fure Toys and all those other ones.
Yeah, like Thanos has those orcs that are, I think they're like 8 or 9 inches tall, so they fit perfectly with your human scales that 6.5, 7 inch tall figures, right?
Yeah, a little bit bigger. Yeah, absolutely. It's really cool. Then you got Conan. You've got King Conan that we just got from where's that from?
Conan.
Was that Mezco? Yeah, Mezco. You got the King Conan figure that we have, and mine's up here fighting an owl beast thing. On a stand, a bunch of the Lemurians running around him.
You take even this guy, right? This guy just got released by Marvel Legends just recently, right? And I mean, total, he's a little smaller build, but I mean, for like a Savage type of guy that just running around the plains or something, he fits right in. And
I mean,
he sold out faster than you could even think about.
Yeah, he's a little smaller than I prefer, right? Like, I prefer, to keep him a little bit more in line, but he works. I mean, you can see I have that Savage He-Man in the photo there. From the Masterverse Savage line that they did, or Savage He-Man they did. Very much in line with the character you just showed, just more in scale with what I collect and stuff. But there's just so many fantasy lines, and most people, even if you don't have your own house and your own yard, you got a creek or a path or some woods or something in the area that you can go to, a park. If anybody's following me on Instagram, you saw me posting pictures of Son of Wonder playing in the sand, with some of the new Gladiator versions of the AWOCs, which I did get, and I forgot to bring those. I don't even know where they are right now. My son must have them still, but I've got the pail. I got pail, and it's got the Gladiator paint and the Gladiator colorings and stuff to him, but like he was using those on a beach, and all of these fantasy, characters, they all work together in sync, and everyone can, even me, Mr. I don't want to get my stuff dirty, can take the stuff out into the world and use the world around you because the scale of these are so much larger than your 3 3/4 figures and 1/18 scale stuff that you can take them and use them, in the worldliness, because it's harder to have a world building that you might have the space for in your house for these larger scale things. You may need to focus on modular, diorama pieces and sets and stuff like that if you're looking to, use it and do the photography. There's some folks that do great photography that are in our chat we all follow, that the fantasy stuff, some of the best stuff I see. Like, this picture of the what is it there? The picture of the 4 Horsemen, Mythic Legions there. That one was taken right from the Mythic Legions website. When I took that to post here, and like, to me, the photos that I see on that, there's really cool wrestling photos I see people do, but this fantasy stuff, it always gets my mind thinking, oh, that's cool. And then I go out into the real world and use it myself. So, huge fan.
Yeah. Joe says, his love for Dungeons and Dragons, so it's got him into the Mythic Legions for sure. And Thanos says we really need someone to commit to fantasy creatures. Yeah, we got that one company that's making the wolves, and they got the griffin coming out. I'd love to get the griffin. But man, those figures, those mounts are huge too, right? I mean, like, I have one Mythic Legions horse, Boreas, and that thing is just gigantic. And I want to get that white one from that Fish Toys, the horse.
Oh, you're talking like, which one is it? I'm trying to think. The one that has like the crazy
Fish Toys has the black, brown, and white one that's got the crazy articulation. Yeah. Matthew says Mezco Conan got him into the Mythic Legions, Goblin and Skeletons, and now he needed horses. So Conan got him to Savage Crucible also. Yep. That's the other thing, right? You look at right? You started with the AWOC, a couple of Mythic Legions. The next thing you know, it's like, oh, well, look at Savage. Oh, look at Brutal Realm. Look at this. Look at that. Right? It's like, holy shit.
It kind of worked a little different for me. It was kind of like the Savage Crucible was out there, and I was like, oh, that looks really cool. I feel like that has like what I want for this fantasy stuff. I see myself getting into it, and I wanted to support an independent company. I was like, I think that might be the route I want to go. And then I started talking to Jeremy Jernigan, who was working closely on the board game for the AWOC stuff that they were trying to put out. And I was hearing about the board game, and I was like, oh, that board game sounds really cool. I would love to do that. So it was kind of like, oh, Savage pulled me towards AWOC. And I'm like, do they scale together? If they do, I want both of these lines. And then I was like seeing pictures of the Masterverse stuff. And I was like, ooh, that stuff's on clearance at Target. Really cheap, inexpensive toys that I can grab and that'll fit into that. So I started filling and backfilling there, which then led me to getting the Mythic Legions. Because, at the time I'd seen the Mythic Legions, but they seemed costly a lot of times from what I saw. They seemed very pricey. But it was more because, like, what I was seeing was people talk about and share, like, the stuff that had a higher price point on it. The ogres and, when
I first started seeing Mythic, I was like, damn, those figures cost a lot. But it was the same thing, right? It was the trolls, the ogres, some of the older figures that were like highly collectible.
Exactly. Which,
like,
I mean, damn. When I look at it now, I'm like, if you get in and you buy those early, it's not bad at all. You can snag those.
Oh, yeah. $25 for a base figure.
Yeah. I did the all in on the Bear series there.
Yeah. I
mean, I'll probably have some stuff to unload, but the pricing is more than, from what I feel when you get quality and what you get from them, and the paint.
You gotta have the bear, right?
Right.
You gotta
them out. Yeah. So, there's just a lot of things you can do, and like, there's other things, right? Like, I've got Como, who sits on my desk with me all the time, from Savage. And then, I've got this chair that I got from somewhere. I don't even know where it came from. I know it was on eBay, but like this chair that I saw somebody else post a picture in. I'm like, there's so much stuff out there that works with it.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I love the fantasy stuff. And
well, it's really funny because, going back to our story, you and I started talking over kind of AWOC because we were both started building, a custom throne for our AWOCs about the same time, right? And
Yep.
we started talking, and
Yeah, you were
back then it
asking,
was-
hey, you won't be offended if I do something like this. I'm like, why the hell would I be offended?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gatekeeping like a
Yeah.
a throne. Like,
yeah, and then
I
you
don't
were
have
like,
the trademark. I don't have the trademark or patent pending on the throne
Yeah.
idea and stuff. I mean, I do have a patent on my hexastack stands, the interlocking
Yes.
modular system that is patent pended officially. I did receive some recent legal documentations to state that. Beware, people who like to stalk me and steal my ideas. Just be aware. Some little controversy, but again,
Well,
I didn't
back
own
then
that
it was
one.
back then it was like AWOC, and you had some, mythic legions, and there was talk of Savage Crucible, but it wasn't really, even
Right.
the
was a
Kickstarter having was Kickstarter having started then, and look, here we are, a year and a half later, 2 years later, and it's like you and I like every day are like, look at this dude, look at this dude, look at this dude, look at this dude. It's like craziness, right?
I mean, that's like a lot of it. I mean, I know we share a lot of independent stuff, whether it's fantasy or not, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's oftentimes military fantasy, right? Like it's like a lot of that. Hey, Brick, what's up, brother?
Yes, this week got brutal.
It got really brutal. But
Yeah.
don't think anybody's disappointed.
That's right.
So, for me, the reason I think the fantasy figures blow up, there's a couple things, right? I think that there's an amazing, especially in the we're a subset of a subset of a subset, right? In this toy community, right? Because we're a very niche group, right? But fantasy figures, there's one top dog, and they did such a great job for so long, and they're still doing a great job. There's no criticism there at all. Four Horsemen did great with Mythic Legions. They built such a brand. They touched people. They touched, collectors right at a place where it's close to home, in the sense that your Lord of the Rings, your Hobbit movies, your Dungeons and Dragons, right? Like all of that,
That's just it, right?
EverQuest,
Lord of the Rings, Dungeons and
Online.
Dragons, all those things that we have, right? And everybody, there were so many options for customizing on top of everything else, on top of the base figures just looking badass anyway.
Yeah.
There were so many people that were just making parts for them and building things for them, right? It was just like,
they started building businesses.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like the people were able to stand up their own independent businesses off of the idea and just being part of that commerce group around a supporting toy line. And they did a great job. And again, this goes back to that whole, there could be a multi-series, deep dive into Four Horsemen and the Mythic Legions as a whole, but they did such a great job where it brought you all of the Tolkien stuff and Wheel of Time, like all that fantasy stuff. You now put it in plastic form, the stuff that we all just thought about and visualized in our mind. You now put it in this awesome articulating art form, and then I think what it had is that they were doing so good for so long, and others are like, well, we can do this too, or we can get close to it, or we can expand on it, or we can do something a little different. And it's opened up the gate for others to come in and say, well, I mean, because mainline toys hadn't been doing it. Right. The Mattel and the Hasbros, they don't really, I mean, yes, we have the Masterverse stuff, but and they come out with the Dungeons and Dragons or the Lord of the Rings movie-esque stuff from time to time, but they don't have like a dedicated line like a Joe, like a wrestling, like
but I think that's the other thing, right? Other than the little bit of even the Frazetta Girl stuff, right? It's based on artwork, but I mean, there's no like the Lord of the Rings stuff was all based on the characters in the movies, right? So there was the actors' likenesses and stuff like that, right? And it wasn't like a true to the book fantasy type of thing,
right?
Whereas all these lines we have now, it's kind of it brings me back to my days of playing with the adventure people and the adventure team from G.I. Joe. Is that these guys are just, I mean, they all come with names, but I can name them any damn thing I want, and no one's going to tell me any different, right? And there's no actual movie tied to it. The movie's in my head, right? And like you said, all the stuff is just I grew up. My dad was a huge car guy, and I never got into cars other than liking to drive fast, and I have my share of muscle cars in my day. But we used to go to the auto show, the Autoremas every year because my dad was a huge car guy, and I would just get dumped off in the van section where they had all the vans painted with the wizards and the barbarians and the half naked ladies, on the sides of them with the riding the dragons and stuff. And that's where I stayed just because I was fascinated by the fantasy art. It was just, that was it, man. It was just mesmerizing and hypnotizing for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And hey, Brick said something. I want to point this out.
Go for it. You want to bring it up, or you want to bring it up?
Can you bring it up?
Is it this one?
Yes. So, Brick, you are in a safe place all the time here. You are always welcome in the ToyLeet. I myself have not watched it, but I want to. I just haven't gotten around to it. So if I'm going to take your recommendation here that I should catch up on it before season 2 starts, let me know when season 2 starts so I can get a jump start. So
I will say,
caught up.
Brick,
There's that.
You're always in a safe space, Brick. I was not enthused or really didn't get into the first season. Wasn't bad. It just didn't catch me. The trailer for the second season looks very, very enticing. So I will definitely be checking out season 2.
And I heard more of what Matthew Madison said here, that I love it. I love that. So let's talk fantasy. So I became a dad at 18, and I didn't ever see the Lord of the Rings movies. My father-in-law, we moved in, we got married, and my wife and I got married, and we moved in with my father-in-law and mother-in-law. My father-in-law was a huge Lord of the Rings fan. So for the first Christmas that me and my wife were married and we were living there for a little while, when we first had my son, we got him I want to say the Return of the King or the Two Towers DVD for Christmas. And we watched it on Christmas. And I still remember my 3-month-old son in my arms, sitting in a chair watching it. And then I had to go watch every one of them. And now every year since then, my oldest son, who's almost 21, for every year, he would, during the Christmas break, for whatever reason, I must have kept doing it for the first few years as he was younger, as I go watch those 3 movies right around the holidays, when we'd be a little extra time off and just kind of have them on the background and stuff. And now every year during that Christmas break, my son and my daughter would start to watch those together. So it's kind of just been a thing. So I'm all about the Lord of the Rings fantasy stuff. I just haven't gotten around to these. I did hear what Matthew Madison said, from a lot of people being not fans of the direction of the one that recently came out. So I wasn't huge to jump at it. I do want to watch it because there's a lot of stuff that a lot of people feel gets crapped on. My brother's very hard up when something doesn't line to the original lore, original, content. And I totally get it. But I can maybe find some things that I enjoy that maybe, even if it's not perfect, it's close enough and might be the only thing I ever get. I've even said the same about a lot of the most recent Marvel movies. They're not great, but I'm committed because it may be the only, in some cases, it might be the only release of that type of, media that I'll ever get to see in my lifetime. So I'm going to enjoy it for what it is. So, Brick, I'm going to be right there with you. Oh, Matson. Sorry. I keep adding an I. My bad. Dude, I can't pronounce shit, man. Don't give me
He can barely pronounce his own name, Matthew. Come on.
Yeah, come on, Madison. Look at the way Mr. Wonderful spelled. Come on, dude. You really going to bust my stones on how I pronounce your name? No, I apologize. Eminem.
I guess it's better you didn't call him Matt because he really hates that.
I'm just going to call him Eminem.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I've been a fan of Tolkien since I was 8 years old, and I saw the Rankin and Bass cartoon Hobbit movie.
Okay.
I saw that movie with my brother. I watched it on a Saturday afternoon. It was on cable TV, whatever it was, and saw that. I had an uncle who was really big into fantasy stuff. Asked him if he had the book, and of course he had like 8 copies of it, right? And just call him Travis.
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 I think that'd be Travis.
That's right.
Thanks,
Travis.
Thanks, Thanos.
We'll just throw an extra syllable in there, Travis.
Appreciate it, Thanos. You're a good dude.
But since then I read The Hobbit, and then I was like, okay, I want more. Went from that to reading The Lord of the Rings. Finally, when I got a little older, I read The Silmarillion, and I probably read all those. I have every book Tolkien ever made now. But I've read every single one at least once, and the main ones too many times to count. But The Rings of Power is one of those things that you watch kind of like the Star Wars sequels, right? You watch them for the entertainment of it, not trying to drive it back to the story that it
Yeah.
comes from, right?
Yeah. I'm actually feeling the urge to go back and watch all the Lord of the Rings movies and the Hobbit movies now.
I just went through and watched the entire Planet of the Apes TV series from the 1970s.
Oh man. But I mean, this goes into fantasy, right? Like I think of, when we were, growing up, we didn't have a lot. We didn't have cable as a kid, until I was probably 11 or 12. So there was a lot of Saturdays and Sundays where you didn't really have much on TV. But if I was home and it was a crappy day out, we'd be sitting there and the Hercules and what was it? Xena, Warrior Princess, like all that fantasy stuff was out there. So, for me, it brings me back to all that stuff to the point where I'm like, oh, I need to go watch that TV show Beastmasters, right? And then you're like, Travis, you should check out the movie. And I did that a while back, right?
Yeah.
So like for me, it's just the fantasy stuff is so cool because, when I was in, it ties back to, when I was in my teenage years and computers were still 56K modems. Anyone that doesn't know what that is, you're probably on the wrong channel. But if you do, it's really slow internet. And, we had EverQuest and we had Ultima Online, which were all fantasy, Middle Ages type themed stories and stuff. And, magicians, mages, whatever, right? All that stuff. So for me, then you had World of Warcraft, things like that. So much.
Like when I was growing up, right? Like Saturdays, in the wintertime up here in New York, it's like, you got from end of October till beginning of March time frame where you go outside for a couple hours, you're back indoors for a couple hours before you can go back out because you're frozen to death, right? And the winters were definitely a lot worse than they are now back then, right? And but Saturdays when we finally got cable in like 1980, it was like it's crazy. You get on there and it's classic monsters from Universal, but there was always Beastmaster or, like I said, the Hobbit cartoon, one of the Conan the Barbarian movies might have been on, or just these obscure like Lady Hawk and the Sword and the Sorcerer, the Dragon Slayer. I mean, all these crazy old, just 80s goodness fantasy movies were just on all the time. And my brother and I, my brother's 2 years older than me, him and I would just absorb all of it. I mean, we killed each other with swords every night. It was just we shared a bedroom. Our beds were, bunk beds, but we had them like separated next to each other. And, it was his platform. This is mine. And we're just battling. There's lava underneath us, whatever, right? You can't fall off your bed. And we just beat the snot out of each other with, whatever we had. It was.
Yep. Yeah. It's just so much. And I think all of that, because of our histories, is what's, combining that with what the Four Horsemen did with their Mythic Legions line and establishing just an amazing foundation to plastic art in that fantasy genre that articulated you could tell stories with and enjoy. And then the way they established a community behind them that is just, it's untouched at this point. There's no one else that has done it as well.
The Cabal is a thing that's just unbelievable to even witness.
Yeah, in today's day and age, see the success of something like that without all of the crap that you see spread everywhere else. It's an amazing feat. So it's really cool. And when that established that, and then you have all of these competitors that are putting sorry. Gotcha. I just was reading Matthew's comment here.
Wait, let's bring this up.
So he's saying basically here that it shocks him how Brick can like something that Matthew thinks is such trash to stuff that we all look back on so fondly of. So
we all love Matthew, but he's got a highfalutin attitude when it comes to his movie, because he's got experience His wife has experience. So his view on things is not the same as us,
Consumers.
consumers, right? Exactly,
Yep.
right? We're just peons down here that, absorb what he puts out there, right? So
Yeah. So I think the rise has been awesome. And I don't think we've reached the peak of it yet. I think we're honestly just at the beginning of what is going to be an amazing couple of years ahead of us of products. I mean, we've seen stuff that's coming out for the next couple of years, right? You've got how far back are we in Mythic Legions? How far out are we in Mythic Legions?
Oh yeah, you got this
the Bear Wave, right?
That's the Suns. That's the Bear Wave. The Rising Suns comes out early first quarter next year at some point in time.
Yep.
Let's say mid next year.
Yeah.
And they just went through and announced the next wave, which is 12 months out from when did Brick Oz and I do that show? At beginning of August. So that's another, wave coming out next year already.
Yep. And then we have the Savage line that's still got Wave 2 coming out later this year. Wave 3 still got to come out next year. Can't wait to see what they do. Zeta just started their licensing of their products, and they're doing their own stuff. So we're seeing that. We've got Brutal Realms, which let's see when that comes to fruition. It's on its way. You've got the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, which just did their second Kickstarter, which Brick, better than anyone can speak to the fact that that Kickstarter was so successful because it gave a product library that's going to be massive and it's going to be awesome. I mean, we have that coming out for continually. There's going to be so much fantasy product.
Yeah. Let's talk about the AWOC real quick, right? Like AWOC has so much fantasy base because it's got the sword and the shield type of vibe to it. There's also the tech vibe with the guns and the, all this stuff. Right. And then on top of that, it kicks back to the whole thing that we all grew up with, the nostalgia bait of being tied to sort of like the Planet of the Apes, Thundercats type of stuff. Right. It's like, it's so overarching. AWOC is, and it's hard. It's funny because you talk to a lot of people, a lot of people still don't know what AWOC is, right? They've seen them, they've looked at them, they don't really understand it. But then the Kickstarter just blows the fucking doors off of everything that was, going on at that point in time. It's like, crazy.
I mean, and you say that, and I totally forgot that. I got to see Derek and Jason when I was down at ZoloCon and grabbed some pictures with him, had a chat. I know I was like, Jason, I was like, you got any comic book, book 5 back there? Can I just get it for a second? No, I didn't. But I do know that that's coming, and then the graphic novel's coming. Or I'm sorry, not the graphic novel, but the trade back or whatever they call it. Yep. Which is going to be the
first 4.
The accumulation of all 5 comics for the the first peak or whatever it is. I always forget what it's called. But so that's coming. Yeah, the first story arc. So that's coming. But there's just so much in the fantasy world. We should pencil in a follow-up in a year from now and just talk about where it was this year versus where it is next year, because I think all of the stuff that we talked about today, and then you throw in all of these beast mounts and stuff that we're seeing from Creative Beast Studios and things that fit right into all this fantasy world stuff, dude. There's no shortage of awesomeness in the fantasy genre. And
then, like you said before, right, all the stuff that's coming from the 5K Toys guys, right, that is just all fantasy based, and they're making, Memory Toys is making mounts now and everything too. It's craziness going on out there.
Well, let's hope the brick's wrong and the bubble doesn't burst, because there's just so much stuff out there that's awesome, and I mean, we don't want to see any of that bursting. I mean, it's such a strong community. As long as the economy continue, spins in the right direction, people can continue.
I don't think the fantasy bubble is going to burst for a while. I think it's really just starting to swell at this point in time.
Yeah, I think we're we're right here, and then we still got quite a ways up before we kind of plateau.
For sure.
And then when we plateau, will there be some of these lines that maybe aren't getting, because they're competing with each other. There's
Mythic Legions kicked off 10 years ago, dude, when there was very little talk about any kind of fantasy stuff other than Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, right? Yeah. And there was all the little, all the little things that were out there, the different, separate
Yeah, there's
movies and
there's
stuff,
the
but-
one-offs and stuff, right?
Right.
And the
But I
the
mean,
movie stuff, but
yeah, but there wasn't really a lot of people calling out for, oh, I need, fantasy based characters. And then Mythic Legions comes out and it's like, bam, it just blows up, right? And they've been
Yep.
kicking it for 10 years and they finally got some competition. And I think it's just going to get better from this point on.
competition creates like innovation, and
Yep.
and we're seeing it right now, and we're going to continue to see it. Like just some of the things, and going back to the Animal Wars, the Kingdom. I just listened to Articulated,
Highly articulated.
highly articulated. Thank you, highly articulated in Brick. When I was on vacation, I was listening to it in the car on the way, to traveling back and forth, and there was a show there that had Jason come on, and they were talking about where the connection of the wings connect to the bird characters and stuff. And instead of just sticking them in the back, so they're more like an archangel, they're actually sticking them to the forearms and like stuff like that, using cloth goods so that you can still keep the cloth good on and put that up and tuck it under. So like there's some really cool things that they're doing, and you've got amazing creators like Jason and the team focused in on those fine details. Why? Because they're not just some board member who's got to, give those massive dollars to their stockholders, but it's independent guys that are in the community like you and I and Brick and those guys that are like, wait a minute, Brick, I want to do this. Like I've never played Dungeons and Dragons with anybody. I'm still waiting. I need to get in on this. Like I need to play Dungeons and Dragons. I keep getting these alerts.
He takes into a local library or school or something. And
that's cool.
That's
cool.
People. Luke was playing with I would say like 5 or 6 of his high school friends for probably the 4 years they were in high school. They played like every other Friday night. The one kid's dad was a dungeon master and created all these awesome, storylines and stuff for them to play. It's good stuff, man.
I want to play so
like
bad.
Joe said, right? It's a whole new generation. I mean, my uncle, who is 15 years older than me, has been playing D&D since it was created, and he's been playing the same D&D game since like 1980 when he was in the Marines with a couple of guys, and they play to this day. They play online now, but they all get together once a year and continue the game. And he got me and my brother and my cousin all into it, and we played it, and then had the cartoons and the action figures and stuff, and now they got the new stuff out, and it's just blowing back up with these young kids again, right? It's like,
well, it's because of the Stranger Things, right? I think Stranger Things was like a huge hit. My daughter and I just started watching that together because she's like, Dad, I want you to watch this, and I was like, I don't know, I'm not into like jump scare stuff. She's like, oh no, you'll like it, Dad. You'll like it. She's got like a YouTube channel where she did a video and she had millions of views on it and stuff like that. And I was like, can you just like, I told her I'll watch it with you if you go on that channel and you do a video to promote my stuff, to get my stuff in front of people, and I'll I'll watch the show with you. So I told her to do that. So maybe we'll get some more subs here at some point. Once she her and I.
The other thing with Dungeons and Dragons, right? We're out of the 80s and the early 90s where it was, if you play Dungeons and Dragons, you practice witchcraft and sacrifice puppies to Satan. So I mean, we got past that. Took a couple years off, and then it came back, and it was okay to play that again, right? Because people realized it was just a game.
I don't know if my daughter is watching this video or if she hears me through the walls, but she just told me, I did not agree to promoting your stuff. I just was watching that with you because I thought we could watch it together. She's over there she just texted me on my watch. So I guess I'm not getting the extra subs. Sorry, I tried, dude. I tried. And then I'll still try. She's grounded. I won't give her a ride to cheer.
That's right.
That's how it works.
She's grounded. That's right. Until
Our
you
channel's
make a video and promote
yeah.
my shit, you ain't going to cheerleading, kid. That's it.
Exactly.
No more varsity cheer for you. You wanted those new sneakers? You're shit out of luck, kid.
So with that said, Ed, let's plan for 52 weeks from now.
It should be a good time, right? If we go a year from now, we should have Brutal Rum either in hand or really, really close to being in hand, right? You figure about a year it takes, 12 months. So yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we'll have to check in, see where things are at, see if we're still climbing or if we're starting to level off on this fantasy stuff for sure. But before we go there,
that's right, Joe. You can worship the devil if you choose to, but I'll tell you a funny story real quick about Dungeons
Yes,
and
sir.
Dragons. So my ex-wife and I, we're been married. She's pregnant with our oldest daughter. And now my oldest daughter just turned 25 in July. So this is a long time ago. And we're moving into her aunt's. Her aunt had a house, but it was, split in two. Like there was a top floor that was an apartment. And then there was the place she lived, which was the bottom floor. She lived there with her wife. Yes, she was, a lesbian, but they had a daughter that they had together and stuff like that. Right. And they've been married forever, but my ex-wife's aunt's wife, her brother used to rent that apartment that we were moving into. And when we were moving in, my ex-wife's grandmother said, you got to take and do, what's the shit you burned? Sage. You got to sage the house and all this other stuff, right? Because her brother, or the wife's brother, and all of his friends would get together every Friday night and play Dungeons and Dragons up there in the living room at this apartment. And they'd all dress up, right? They'd all come like with their black robes and, they went all out, right? They had the candles and all of it, right? And they used to think that they were doing like, satanic rituals up there and stuff. So the grandmother was convinced they had to sage the house, do some, good voodoo stuff to it. So all the devil worship was gone from there.
That's funny. That's funny. I just wanted to give a shout out to Rocco who joined in. Thank you, Rocco.
What's up?
Awesome. Appreciate you jumping in, brother. I missed you at ZoloCon. I think you were there on the Saturday. Unfortunately, I ended up there on Sunday. I was hoping to run into you there when I was talking to D. Blake and Jason over at Spiro Toys for the Animal Warrior of the Kingdoms, man. Great show. I'll definitely be there in March. I'm not sure if you're planning to stop in there, but love to connect with you on site then. So before we go into what the topic is next week, I said I was going to get toxic. I'm going to say something that I think is crap. And
make you full screen. Let's make you full screen so you can vent. Go ahead.
So, McFarlane, what the hell are you doing, dude? You're $1 million companies. You got so much money. You've been around longer than my kids have been alive. You own the IP to Spawn. How are you crowdfunding this through Kickstarter? And then how are you doing it in such a way that it's so misleading that you're not including all of the crap that you promised unless you sell $3.5 million in merchandise of this generic deluxe figure? That's it. I just think it's trash. That's it. Like Kickstarter is meant for us, the independent guys. It's not meant for McFarlane. It's not meant for Mattel. You want to go start your own thing, go for it. But like, it's just.
I'm really surprised that he kickstarted it and didn't do like HasLab, Mattel Creations. He could have called it like Daddy Max,
It's such a janky thing to do. It seems so like it's pervasive. It's perverted. It's perverted. He's perverting the process of Kickstarter. Go off.
The mind-blowing thing is that I think Saturday he had like $1.5 million already raised.
Brick, he does have his own crowdfunding platform. It's called Pre-Orders on my own site.
Yeah,
you have your own site. All your people know about it. Go on your Instagram, post your crap, go to your site, let them pre-order it.
We're not saying that he can't do a crowdfund. We're saying that using Kickstarter as a platform, he should have created his own.
I'm not a fan of the crowdfunding aspect from large scale companies.
Oh, me neither. Me neither.
I think it's a great product. I think it's a great thing for the smaller guy to get a head start. I think it's great for someone like an AWOC, to use it the one or two times that, I'm okay with a company doing it one or two times to try to get themselves off the ground, to establish themselves. I'm not a huge fan of habitual usage of it because I feel like you're not running a business appropriately if you have to do it that way. And
the other thing is like, I think Mattel, I look at Mattel a little differently because like Hasbro, when they came out with the HasLab, right? They said, and this is totally segueing into a different topic, but like their whole thing was, it's going to be for dream projects, right? Well, you've already proven you can sell a vamp. You've already proven that people will pay the $300 for a his tank. You have your own store that you own, basically, right? Hasbro Pulse. Just make the damn thing and put it on Hasbro Pulse now.
Yeah.
Do pre-orders. If you sell 300 pre-orders, make 300, then you got your money, right? And if you end up getting a couple cancellations, people are still going to, pick up the ones that are canceled for.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Now, like
To
I
me,
said, Mattel has done, the big Eternia playset, right? And they've done
the wrestling arenas.
Right.
I've gotten one.
right, but those are more like dream projects, right? They're huge, they're big, big things, right? Like
Yep.
Hasbro hasn't done anything so enormous or large. Like when they tried to do the sail barge, I think that would have been an awesome thing, right? I don't know if they did the sail barge. Did they do the sail
Yeah.
barge? I think they did.
I mean,
That's something I could see doing, right? The sail barge is fucking huge, right?
I would be fine with the pre-order. I don't like the Kickstarter aspect of it. I don't like the crowdfunding of it. I think it's shady when you see them using it. I think it's a pervasive way of using the approach, but they're gonna do it. If you're gonna do it right. Don't use Kickstarter. Use your own platform. I guess at least Ben McFarlane using Kickstarter, he's losing some of the money to Kickstarter instead of doing it through his own platform. So I guess at least that way, unless he gets some special deal through them by doing it, at least he's losing some of his money through the funding because he has to give Kickstarter
right.
some
That's
money.
why Hasbro and Mattel do their own, because
Right.
that way they're not losing any of the money, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I
They're
guess
not
at
paying
least
for the
that.
service.
Yes, exactly, Brick. That right there. You're saying it right here. Exactly. But it's even worse. It's even worse. Brick, it's as if having Steph Curry go try out for the high school team and him say he's only going to play while he's laying on his back. Like you're not even getting the full show at the game. And then they're also charging you $60 a ticket to watch him for him just laying there free throwing the ball from his back, not moving, or sitting on the bench. Maybe that's a better example. It's him trying out for the game and playing on the high school team to charge $60 a ticket for the game while he just sits on the bench.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's like, because they're not giving you anything special. Like this McFarlane, I watched a video the other day. I don't know whose it was, and I apologize for whoever was reviewing it. They did a great job talking about it, but they basically pointed out that it's like a deluxe figure. It's really like a deluxe figure that you should be able to buy from his site directly in a pre-order process. They didn't add, like, the first stretch goal was a set of hands. The first stretch goal was a set of freaking hands. Wait a minute. We're not even talking about the crappy articulation McFarlane figures normally have and any of that stuff. And hey, I'm a champion of the fact that McFarlane is like one of the first lines to really provide items to us as collectors, right? Not just toys, but collectible toys, right? Like actual collectible, more adult-centric, articulation and figures.
Yeah.
But like, dude, you're abusing the system. That's it. I'll leave it at that. I could do a whole different show on this and all of the, large entities that are taking advantage of that, but I won't. And that's not what we're talking about next week. What we're talking about next week is celebrity figures and the impact of pop culture on toy lines. So we'll dig into, how some of the pop culture has impacted toy lines. Big one here. Probably going to be talking about some pop things. Pops have been a huge thing because of pop culture, the Funko Pops and all of those celebrities that are going on to these little bobblehead-like figures and what an impact that has had on things. But we're going to go in deeper. We'll talk about some of the MCU stuff where, you've got the Marvel Cinematic Universe characters and things like that. He says a Travis with toys. Yeah. Or
a Travis with wonderful toys.
Yeah. A whiner with toys. Wonderful toys. I don't know. We'll stick with Travis with toys. It was cool. It's good. Or that works. But so check us out next week. But before we close up, Ed, what do you got going on this next week?
Oh, I'm all over the place, dude. I got a Punk with Toys tomorrow. I'll be modding while he does a Thursday with a friend with him and the Crusty Old Crow. Friday night, Radnom should be back. He's been a little under the weather the last few weeks, so he'll be back with his Friday night craft and chill, which starts usually around midnight Eastern time on his channel. Saturday, of course, I'll be in the clubhouse hanging out with Oz and the gang, Brick and Joe and Thanos, and all those guys will be probably on the screen with us. And Nolan's usually in the chat. Matthew's been on quite a few times now. And,
is that Matthew Madison?
Matthew Madison. Matt Madison. That's who it is. Matt Madison.
Absolutely.
And,
awesome.
Nolan's always hanging out in the chat with us, and good times. Talk about just about everything. And then Sunday's Hella Dope Day. Hella Dope Day. And I believe they are all by themselves on Sunday.
Solo week, right?
Solo week. Discussing how they did at the Columbus Toy Show and how that went for them. And then,
Good deal.
you know, Monday I'll be back on with the rambling man himself, Mr. Punk with Toys. And then we'll be on Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever night we decide next week.
Yep. I think I want to shoot for Tuesday, but it might have to be a little bit later. But I also don't want to step on people's toes, so we might move to Wednesday. So we'll check. We'll figure that out for next week. But then we'll get back into, after that, the regularly scheduled program.
And yes, Brick, you get special points for the sports ball reference.
Yes.
We'll give it to you.
Yes. Awesome. As far as me,
yeah, what you got going on there, brother?
just working on some stuff, finalizing some things so we can move forward with some things that I'm working on. Being discreet there, but it's coming. The next thing is I just want to give another shout out to D Blake Makes. There's some really cool shelf enhancements you can do. Definitely, as someone who likes to put things on the stands, they have some really cool stuff.
Does he do live shows? We should see if he wants to come on and talk about his stuff.
He does live shows. I'll definitely get in touch with him. He and I have been talking quite extensively, but he has that stuff, and he also has these really cool things.
Yeah, those are pretty awesome, man. Those web
that
effects
you can use for web slingers and the Carnage stuff. There's a bunch of other ones too.
It'd be cool to get some of those in blood red, that aren't the weapons for Carnage, right? And then you could have true blood splatter coming off, your dude's faces, you're cutting his head off or something.
Absolutely,
that'd be badass.
Absolutely. Other than that, I am supposed to connect with Aaron here in the next day or two. For the 1-2 kick out podcast that we're doing. We got the Bash in Berlin, I think is what it is this week for wrestling. They have the WWE show this weekend. So I gotta win this. I gotta win this pick'em prediction with him because I lost miserably last time. So definitely have some makeup room to do there. So we'll see how I can do.
I can't believe you, the lifelong wrestling fan you are, got your ass kicked by Aaron.
It's because I try to be a smart mark. I try to be smarter than the writers are because I know what they should be doing, but they don't do it.
You know better than that, dude.
That's what I'm saying. Right. They should be doing what I tell them, but they don't.
Yep.
So I digress. But again, that's likely the only show I'll be on. We got the holiday weekend. Football's kicking off.
Holiday weekend this weekend, right? Back to school for us here in New York.
Yep. Back to school early next week. Football's kicking off, so there's some fantasy football stuff that I take part in. So I'll be playing some of that stuff. I know Punk thinks that most toy collectors don't know what sports are, and there's not a lot of us out there, but I do know football. And yes, I'm not talking college football. I'm talking the real football, the New York Giants, and they're not that good. But yes,
that's
Giants
why you root for the Bills, dude. The only true New York team.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not rooting for the Bills, but yeah. So that's about it.
Anyway, everybody, thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do the whole thing, and play with your toys. Take them out, get them dirty. They're plastic. It'll be okay, I promise.
Awesome. On that note, stay wonderful.
Now, but remember this. Let your toys breathe. Do this. Toys on the desk. It's the new habitat. ToyLeet Takeover. We're loving